Africa's future is being shaped by one of the most powerful forces on the planet, a massive, and I mean massive, youth population. Now, this demographic boom presents the continent with a monumental choice. It could be the engine for some truly unprecedented economic growth, or it could ignite immense social pressure. Okay, let's dive right into this. And this is really the central question, isn't it? It's not just some academic exercise. The answer is going to define the continent for generations. You have this wave of young, ambitious people. Are they going to have the opportunities they need to build, to create, and to prosper? Or will a lack of opportunity lead to instability? The stakes really could not be higher. So you've got this demographic dilemma, a real fork in the road. Today, we're going to break down two powerful forces that are working to steer the continent towards that gold mine scenario, and one critical vulnerability that could tip the scales the other way. First up is the big top-down strategy. This is an incredibly ambitious plan to unite an entire continent and create a single, powerful economic bloc. It's called the AfCFTA, the African Continental Free Trade Area. And look, its vision is massive. We're talking about breaking down barriers between nations to forge the largest free trade area in the world by population. The whole goal is to create one single unified market where goods, services, and money can move freely, which should turbocharge trade within Africa itself. Now, what's really interesting here is that this grand vision isn't just about giant corporations. This guide from the UN Development Program shows that the AfCFTA is specifically designed to empower the small and medium businesses, the SMEs, that are the true engine of Africa's economies. And they're trying to make it really practical. The idea is to give, say, a small business owner in Tanzania a clear checklist. First, understand the new, simpler trade rules. Second, figure out which neighboring countries are hungry for your product. Third, get your documents in order. And fourth, tap into support networks like the Intra-African Trade Fair to find new customers. It's all about turning a huge, continent-sized idea into a real opportunity for a local business. So that's the big top-down plan. But at the exact same time, there's this powerful bottom-up revolution happening, and it's being driven by technology that literally fits in the palm of your hand. 800 million. That is the staggering number of mobile money accounts registered across Africa. Think about that. In just a few years, the mobile phone basically leapfrogged decades of traditional banking infrastructure, creating the perfect foundation for a fintech explosion. And this comparison really tells the whole story, where traditional banking required physical branches and a formal credit history, fintech innovation makes capital accessible through a simple mobile phone. Instead of needing collateral, AI can analyze mobile data to create a credit score. This just dramatically lowers costs and opens up financial services to millions of entrepreneurs who were completely locked out of the old system. And this quote just hits on the real-world impact. Joe Machiro, the president of fintech platform Gmo, puts it perfectly. He says this isn't just about convenient apps. It's about protecting livelihoods, creating financial inclusion, and fueling real economic growth from the ground up. And the data completely backs this up. Jumo reports that over half, more than 50% of the micro and small businesses that get access to their financial tools go on to hire at least one more person. That's the ripple effect in action, right? A small loan for one entrepreneur creates a job for someone else in their community. Okay, so we've got this incredible potential. You have a continent-wide trade policy from the top and a grassroots tech revolution from the bottom. It sounds like a perfect recipe for success. But both of these forces depend on one critical ingredient: capital. And that has become a major, major vulnerability. I mean, just look at this growth. Between 2015 and 2022, the number of African tech startups getting funding multiplied 7 times over. It hit a peak of more than 700 firms in a single year. It was one of the fastest growing startup scenes on the entire planet. The momentum, it felt unstoppable. And then the music stopped. As global interest rates went up, venture capital dried up everywhere. But the collapse was way more severe in Africa than in any other region. Between 2022 and 2024, the number of VC deals just plunged by 52%. The engine of this bottom-up revolution started to seriously sputter. So why? Why did it hit so hard? Well, this chart explains it. Roughly 80% of venture funding for African startups comes from foreign investors, mostly from North America and Europe. Now, that's not a problem when the global economy is booming. But as the IFC source points out, foreign investors are the very first to pull back during a downturn, and that leaves the entire ecosystem dangerously exposed. And the consequences are stark. Established startups are now struggling to get the follow-on funding they need to scale up. And this downturn is hitting women-led businesses disproportionately hard. Their share of investment dropped to an all-time low in 2024. This isn't just a slowdown, it's a real threat to the diversity and the dynamism of the whole ecosystem. So, all this brings us back to our original question. How does Africa make sure it hits the gold mine and avoids the time bomb? Well, the answer seems to lie in overcoming this critical vulnerability by forging a more resilient, self-sustaining future. So, here's the key takeaway. It's not a choice between the top-down policy of the FFCTA or the bottom-up revolution of fintech. The future depends on them converging. A great trade policy and brilliant technology just aren't enough if they're built on a fragile foundation of foreign capital. The path forward involves building that resilient foundation from within. This means nurturing homegrown capital markets. It means policy changes like what we're seeing in Ghana and Nigeria that allow local pension funds to invest in private equity. It means developing new tools like venture debt and having development finance institutions step in to de-risk those early investments, which makes them way more attractive to local private investors. And that leaves us with the final question. We have the policy framework, we have the technological innovation. The final piece of the puzzle is building a resilient local capital base to fuel it all. Can Africa's leaders and innovators align these three powerful forces? Because if they can, they may just unlock a golden age of growth for the entire continent.